This is Mr. Coker with Foundations of Algebra, Lesson 2-3. This one is about comparing fractions, and I'm going to talk about 3 ways to compare fractions. The first 2 are useful, especially if you have more than 2 fractions to compare, and the third one is a quick and easy way if you have only 2 fractions that you're comparing. So, first off, method 1, common denominator. So if we have a common denominator, if we have 2 fractions, I want to start by reminding you from the adding fractions video that if we have 2 fractions with different denominators, the denominator of course is the bottom number and the top number is the numerator. If our bottom numbers, our denominators are different, then that means that the fraction is comparing different, that the 2 fractions are comparing different sizes. So 1/2 compared to 3/5. It's different to compare a number of halves compared to a number of fifths. They're different sizes. So we can find the same denominator and then we can easily compare the sizes because, well, we'll be comparing the same sizes. So, just like with adding fractions video, to create common denominators for comparing fractions, we can multiply the 2 denominators together. So I could do 2 times 5, and whatever I do to the fraction on bottom, I can change it in any way I like as long as I do the same thing on bottom and on top. So whatever I do to the top, I can do the same thing to the bottom. I said that kind of backward. Whatever I do to the bottom, I need to do to the top. So if I do 2 times 5, then I want to do 1 times 5. And that's okay because both the top, the numerator, and the bottom, the denominator, are being multiplied by 5. Same thing for the second fraction. So 5 times 2, the denominator times 2, as long as we do the numerator times 2, we're fine. I can do the math on this, which is easy math. 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 5 is 10. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 2, of course, is 10 because we need our common denominators. Look which number is bigger. Obviously 6 is bigger than 5. So comparing the fractions, 3/5 is of course bigger than 1/2. And you can see I use the same numbers for all 3 methods, just for consistency. The second one is to divide and compare. So when we divide, we're going to get a decimal. Decimals are already ready to compare. So if I do 1 divided by 2, well, 1 divided by 2, because remember, a fraction bar is a division symbol. Very important to remember that in general in algebra. So 1 divided by 2 would give us 0.5. You can put that in a calculator if you need to, and it gives you 0.5. 3 divided by 5, put that in a calculator, and it gives you 0.6. Well, which one's bigger, 0.5 or 0.6? Well, just like 6 is bigger than 5, 0.6 is bigger than 0.5, so we know 3/5 is bigger. Now we've done 2 ways of finding it. Something tells me that the third method is still going to give us the same result. Let's see how though. By the way, when you are comparing 2 fractions and all you're doing is comparing, you're seeing which one's bigger, cross multiply. The third method is by far the easiest. It's the quickest. So cross multiplying is essentially, it's the same thing as the common denominator, but getting rid of the bottom part instead of doing 4 products, we're only going to do 2 and quickly compare them. So when we cross multiply, we're going to do, and let me write it underneath to make it a little bit easier, I hope. We're going to start by doing 1 times 5. 1 times 5, of course, is 5. I'll put that in a different color. So we get 5. 1 times 5, so we're cross multiplying. And then we're going to do 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And again, 6 is bigger than 5. And so, of course, again, 3/5 is bigger. Now, you can notice, hopefully, it's the same thing we did on the first one. We did 1 times 5, 3 times 2, and we got 6. The numerator is bigger than the other numerator, 5. Or the second numerator is bigger than the first one. We did the same thing here, just without fooling around with anything down here. That's why it's a lot quicker. And if you are only comparing 2 fractions, that's the way to go. If you have multiple fractions, this is usually the easiest way if you have a calculator. If you don't, then any of these ways work, but it's whatever is easiest for you. So anyway, thanks for watching and have a good one.